Next at 4, the snow has stopped, but the cleanup has just begun. The areas that saw the most and just how much piled up.
Plus, a horrible discovery. Children held and captive in their own homes, the abuse they suffered and how they escaped. I'm Amelia Jones.
And I'm Maya Norman. Live at 4 is next.
Right now, from Milwaukee, this is today's TMJ4, Live at 4.
Storm Team 4 tops our coverage today on Live at 4. It's finally stopped snowing. And as snow totals begin to roll in, we're seeing some impressive numbers. The farther north you go, the more snow you'll see. These pictures are from Door County, where some areas saw more than 20 inches of snow.
And we've seen some pretty impressive snow totals around here too. Meteorologist Austin LeGrand joins us with the weather.
Yeah, we start our the rest Wednesday through Friday. It's going to be very cold, and then as we go on through the weekend and into next week, we're going to see some better temperatures. There still might be a chance for snow come Monday, but Tuesday it's going to be partly cloudy, and I think we will see good temperatures from there. Back to you.
Snow pummeled the lakeside communities across our viewing area this morning. In Racine County, major roadways through Racine, Sturvant, and Mount Pleasant remained snow-covered for much of the morning commute, even as plows worked feverishly to keep them clear.
It was getting hard there for a while to keep up, but it looks like the lake effect's slowing down.
I was slipping and turning a little bit.
The snowfall in Racine this morning wrapped up around 10. According to the National Weather Service, the bulk of the snow fell in Kohler.
Tom Durian was there earlier today. He's live right now with more on the cleanup efforts there.
Do you think that's how much came down?
Definitely. For sure. This is my third round of shoveling, and at least it's lightweight. It's not, the heavy heart attack snow.
This is my third time. Last night, again early this morning, and then now.
A friendly reminder that in Milwaukee you have 24 hours to remove the snow from your sidewalks. This rule also applies to commercial businesses. The city is responsible for clearing the entrances to alleys, but does not clear alleys. And a heads up for all you drivers who are parking on Milwaukee City streets, the Department of Public Works will continue snow removal efforts tonight. So you must park on the even side of the street tonight. Yesterday, Checkers issued more than 1,800 parking tickets because of the alternate side parking rules. Make sure you read street signs in your neighborhood for winter parking instructions before you park. Our viewers have been sending some impressive pictures of the snow. We've seen a number of pictures in the rulers in the snow and plenty of beautiful scenery. If you send us pictures, who knows? You may find yourself on our website or in one of our shows. Remember, for all things weather, go to today's TMJ4.com for live radar and interactive maps and any other weather information you need.
A teenager is facing 27 criminal charges in connection with a hit and run that left 2 people seriously injured in a grocery store parking lot. According to the criminal complaint, 17-year-old Isaiah DeGroot didn't even have a driver's license. Racine County deputies say a couple was run over by the teen who refused to pull over during a traffic stop near Festival Foods. DeGroot hit a 47-year-old woman and a 53-year-old man, then ran into a pole. The 17-year-old was out on bail after shooting at someone. Charges have also been handed down to Cheval Bale. He's accused of shooting at Wauwatosa police officers last week after a chase. Police say Ball began firing at police after getting out of the vehicle. Officers returned fire, striking the 23-year-old twice. He was treated at a hospital. One of 3 others in the vehicle, a 19-year-old woman, was also hit by gunfire. Authorities in California are praising the bravery of a 17-year-old girl who used a deactivated cell phone to call for help to rescue her 12 brothers and sisters. Jennifer Borkland has the details.
The arrest that went down here Sunday uncovered filthy conditions inside this house. David and Louise Turpin's 13 children, aged 2 to 29, malnourished. At least 3 of them shackled to furniture in dark rooms.
It seemed that the mother was perplexed as to why we were at that residence.
Shocking to the outside world.
Crazy, you never know who your neighbors are.
Neighbors say there were hints the family was odd, but not to the point of concern.
They never were mean, but the vibe that I got was stay in your zone and we'll stay in our zone. That's the vibe I got.
The couple's 17-year-old daughter escaped through a window early Sunday and called for help. So malnourished, responding officers thought she was 10 years old. All of the children are being cared for now by medical personnel.
They're very friendly. They're very cooperative. And I believe that they're hopeful that life will get better for them after this event.
NBC News spoke exclusively with Louise Turpin's brother and sister. They say she isolated herself from them.
We had really no connection with Louise in a long, long time since we were young.
Neighbors can't fathom what went on here and why.
No parent should ever treat their kids like that.
Kids who were rarely seen outside, and when they were described as very thin and pale. Jennifer Bjorklund, NBC News, Paris, California.
The first of more than 100 women sexually abused by former gymnastics doctor Larry Nassar took the stand today at his sentencing hearing, each one detailing his actions and the horrific impact on their lives. Among Nassar's accusers are several Olympic gold medal gymnasts, including Simone Biles. In Washington, it's a shutdown showdown again, this time around immigration, and the president's own words have entered the negotiations. NBC's Blaine Alexander on why the threat of a shutdown is much higher.
Passion spilling over on Capitol Hill. Time running out to fix DACA, the protection for young immigrants. Some Democrats drawing a line in the sand. No DACA, no vote for a spending bill, threatening a government shutdown midnight Friday.
I think it's more likely than not.
Making negotiations even tougher, the president reportedly using an expletive to describe African countries. Today on immigrants, a softer tone.
I want them to come in from everywhere, everywhere.
But for some on Capitol Hill, too late. Homeland Security Secretary Kirstjen Nielsen grilled by Democrat Dick Durbin about what they both heard at that meeting.
How did he characterize those countries in Africa?
I don't specifically remember a categorization of countries in Africa.
Another attendee, Republican Lindsey Graham, asking what happened to the president who led an extraordinary televised negotiation last week, praised by both parties.
This group and others from the Senate, from the House, comes back with an agreement. I'm signing it. I mean, I will be signing it.
Now, I don't know where that guy went. I want him back.
The White House says it's the Democrats that have had a change of heart.
Hopefully Democrats will stop playing politics and start governing and getting their job done.
Each party poised to blame the other if the government shuts down.
And now the Trump administration is asking the Supreme Court to immediately weigh in on DACA after a lower court ruled that the president cannot end the program. Blaine Alexander, NBC News, Washington.
Still ahead on Live at 4, why the next time you have to sneeze, you should just let it rip.
Plus, instead of discussing nuclear preparedness, the CDC made an abrupt decision to change focus. More on the lingering flu outbreak.
You're watching today's TMJ4 with Charles Benson, Shannon Sims, and Storm Team 4 meteorologist Jesse Ritka.
Doctors say you shouldn't hold your sneezes. A new report highlights the case of a 34-year-old British man who suffered a neck injury when he pinched his nose and kept his mouth closed to hold back a sneeze. The force and the pressure to suppress the sneeze sent air and matter crashing into the back of his throat. He didn't need surgery, but he did have to be hospitalized for 2 weeks. The flu season has been a bad one, hitting the elderly and kids hard.
But even healthy people can be severely affected. Erica Edwards reports.
Gurneys are lined up in hospitals across the country.
many overwhelmed with flu patients.
You are coughing as well?
The flu season has come on so strong, so fast. The Centers for Disease Control postponed a meeting on nuclear preparedness, originally scheduled for Tuesday, and met instead about the flu.
Viruses, particularly like the H3N2, are constantly changing.
Most people with the flu recover, but it can kill otherwise healthy people. This was 58-year-old Joe Morrison of Florida just last Wednesday, the picture of health.
Thursday morning he's in the hospital. On Friday night he was responding to people, but a few hours later he had a stroke, and that was it.
With his immune system compromised by the flu, Morrison died the next day. Even though this year's flu shot is not doing a great job of preventing cases, experts say the vaccine can help prevent flu deaths.
There's still a lot more flu to go this year, maybe even 13 weeks more of flu activity.
The virus spreads easily. This video from MIT shows how droplets from sneezes fly much farther than you might think. A good reminder to cover sneezes and coughs and wash hands frequently. Now, for perspective, we experience a flu epidemic every year in this country. This year seems particularly bad because cases are hitting every single state all at once. Erica Edwards, NBC News.
Coming up at 4:30, clearing up the travel insurance confusion. What to pay attention to make sure you're covered in case something goes wrong.
Plus, a masked burglar caught on camera tearing up a store, how it got inside and how long it took police to get it out. Storm Team 4 now, the Germantown Police Department having a little fun with their snowfall. The chief today posted this photo on social media, making a deal with residents. They can have the snow for free off his driveway. All they have to do is pick it up.
He says it's first come, first serve, but more is on the way.
When will we see another round of snow? Let's check the forecast right now.
Next Monday, that is the next time that you will see snow. But right now behind me, you can see it's smooth sailing for everybody on the roads. No snow right now. Now, if we take a look at the 7th, Tuesday, we're going to go back to being a little cold. Back to you guys.
It is game on at the 33rd Annual Waukesha Jamboree. The Winter Festival runs January 26th through the 28th. There will be more than 35 events, and most are free. They include disc golf, hockey, trivia, bocce, and that huge toboggan run. Today's TMJ4 meteorologist Brian Goddard will serve as MC of the opening ceremonies on Friday, January 26th.
Up next, our expert with some tips on how to include your four-legged friend on your wedding day.
And then there were three. A big announcement coming from the Kardashian West family. We'll have the details still ahead.
Does this winter weather have you itching for baseball to start? Well, you can get an early taste next weekend at Brewers on Deck. More than 60 players, coaches, alumni, and broadcasters will be at the Wisconsin Center on Sunday, January 28th. It runs from 10 a.m. until 5 p.m. If you want to get an autograph from your favorite players, you'll have to plan ahead. For the first time this year, all autographs will be first come, first serve. Photo cards will be provided by the team. Players and staff will each sign up to 250 autographs. All proceeds go to the Brewers Community Foundation.
The countdown continues to the Winter Olympics in South Korea. We are now down to 22 days until the start of coverage. Today's TMJ4 is your official Olympic station, and we'll be bringing you all the action right here.
Thanks for joining us today at 4.
There's more news ahead on Live at 4:30.
Right now, from Milwaukee, this is today's TMJ4, live at 4:30.
Now at 4:30, those snow blowers, plows, and shovels are finally getting a workout. The first significant snow of the season has left its mark. Most areas looking at more than 2 inches.
And in some areas, they're digging out of 10 inches of snow.
Meteorologist Austin LeGrand joins us with the weather. Austin?
That's right. Up in Kohler, they were at 14 inches, I believe. And as you can see through the rest of the week, it's going to be relatively cold, and we won't have another chance for snow until Monday. But until then, we're going to be in the lower 40s, and then Tuesday, we're going to go back to the 30s. I'll let you know when we're going to be going to summer.
To stay up to date on the forecast, on the go, download our Storm Shield app. You can get current conditions and accurate forecasts. The app also tells you when severe weather is heading your way. Foreign ministers from around the globe gathered in Canada today with a singular focus: to apply more pressure on North Korea and its nuclear ambitions.
NBC's Matt Bradley has the day's events from Vancouver.
Good afternoon. Well, this conference is already underway, and we've seen diplomats from about 24 countries filing into the Vancouver Convention Center behind me. Now, the point of this conference is sanctions. U.S. Secretary of State Rex Tillerson, he wants to bring U.S. allies on side to enforce these sanctions that were issued by the UN last month.
We especially urge Russia and China in this matter. Full implementation is an essential measure for the security of their people and a clear indication of their willingness to honor their international commitments.
The problem is that this conference is coming at a very inopportune time. The Olympics are a little less than a month away in South Korea. That really raises the stakes here. Also, there's direct talks between North and South going on this week in the Korean Peninsula. And already, Russia and China have complained. They say that they're the major stakeholders here and they're not invited.
We especially urge Russia and China in this matter. Full implementation is an essential measure for the security of their people and a clear indication of their willingness to honor their international commitments.
Russia has come out and called this conference destructive. So the issue here is whether or not this conference, with so many countries, is going to actually end up doing more harm than good to this very sensitive diplomatic process. Matt Bradley, NBC News, Vancouver.
The new billion-dollar U.S. Embassy in London opened to the public today. The gleaming new building replaces an embassy that has for decades been associated with the U.S. presence in the United Kingdom. U.S. officials said it would have cost hundreds of millions of dollars to upgrade security at the older building and bring it up to modern safety standards. Another day, another milestone on Wall Street. The Dow Jones Industrial Coverage cracked the 26,000 barrier just after opening bell this morning. That's just 7 trading days after the Dow hit 25,000 for the first time. And the Dow has jumped about 42% since President Trump was elected. For your money this afternoon, here's a look now at the markets at the close of business today. The Dow was down to 10 to 25,792. The Nasdaq down to 724. The S&P down 10 to 2776. So red across the board.
Now is a good time to take a trip, according to Fare Compare. Domestic and European flights dropped starting January 9th after the holiday travel rush. And the low fares will continue into February. But buy those tickets quick because prices will jump again closer to February 15th for President's Day holiday. While the number of trips by global travelers surged 7% last year, trips to the U.S. fell by roughly 4%. That decline follows a 2% drop in 2016. Industry experts cite 2 key factors for the decline: the strong dollar, which has made it less affordable for travelers to stay in the U.S., and the Trump administration's controversial policies on immigration and travel. France remains the world's favorite tourist destination. A mystery disorder affecting hundreds of Wisconsin children.
It's a story new on Live at 6. It causes compulsive and even psychotic behavior and often goes misdiagnosed. Tonight, what it is and how one family is hoping their story will help others. That's coming up live at 6.
You can help in the fight against substance abuse. January 22nd through the 28th is National Drug and Alcohol Fact Week.
To raise awareness, today's TMJ4 has again partnered with the Milwaukee County Behavioral Health Division to host a phone bank. Anyone who is struggling with substance abuse or knows someone who is encouraged to call. We'll also have a texting feature. You can get help on ways to stop, how to talk to loved ones, or anything related to substance abuse. That phone bank will be Tuesday, January 23rd from 4 to 7 p.m.
Next, we'll have an inside look at the Women's Center shelves to see what supplies they need.
Plus, police posted pictures of a sneaky burglar caught inside a cell phone store. And the masked suspect is getting a lot of attention.
You're watching today's TMJ4 with Shannon Sims, Charles Benson, and Storm Team 4 meteorologist Jesse Ritka.
Kim Kardashian and Kanye West are welcoming their third child, a daughter born yesterday via surrogate. The little girl is the couple's second daughter, joining older sister North, who is 4.5, and older brother Saint, who is 2. A source told People in December that Kim was holding off revealing on the name, as she has done with her other 2 children. The 16th annual Today's TMJ4 Community Baby Shower is coming up on Friday.
Live at Daybreak, anchor Susan Kim explains how your donations help agencies change lives.
Some of the items donated to the Today's TMJ4 Community Baby Shower will go to the Women's Center in Waukesha. The agency helps victims of domestic violence and sexual assault get back on their feet by providing shelter and counseling. The Women's Center says those donated baby items help them help families.
The Women's Center sees hundreds of families through these doors every year. And when those families arrive, they are often in crisis.
So either because of domestic violence or sexual violence, or their child has been assaulted in some way. So they're coming to us and they're needing not only their emotional needs met, but oftentimes their basic needs.
As the Director of Shelter Services for the Women's Center, Jessie Trout says having formula and diapers help counselors focus on a victim's more critical needs.
It allows us to focus on the safety components and meeting all of the other needs of the clients once we know that their basic needs are cared for.
Trout also tells us donations from last year's community baby shower lasted the Women's Center nearly 9 months. The agency keeps some items here on what it calls the free shelf for people who walk in and may need diapers or formula to stretch their paycheck. The agency also has items on hand in the transitional living area, a safe place for women and children who are escaping an abusive situation.
This is where we keep a lot of the supplies for the family so that we have it on hand right away.
The Women's Center says there's always a need for larger sized diapers.
Oftentimes when children are in crisis or in trauma, they do regress with some of their behaviors, and especially the skills that they just learned or mastered.
In addition to the larger size diapers and formula, the Women's Center says it can always use toys as well. Susan Kim, today's TMJ4.
Today's TMJ4 is proud to partner with the Froedtert and the Medical College of Wisconsin Birth Center for this year's Community Baby Shower. Donate baby items like diapers, formula, toys, and new clothes. You can drop them off at any area Sentry store or right here at Today's TMJ4 on Friday, January 19th. All of the items go to local babies in need.
Still ahead, it's a battle of the breast. We'll have the unbelievable photo that was taken on a Georgia golf course.
But first, here's a live look outside. Meteorologist Jesse Ritka is back with the latest on our forecast next. Take a peek at that. The Pro Bowl isn't a very competitive game, and the players say they don't really care. But come on, the first time you're named among the best of the best, it's a big deal. For the 9th consecutive year, the Packers have a Pro Bowler. For the first time, it's Davante Adams. Adams added to the team, replacing the injured Julio Jones. Adams joined Jordy Nelson, Antonio Freeman, Sterling Sharp, and Don Hudson as the only players in franchise history to have 10-plus touchdown catches in consecutive seasons. The Badgers and the number 3 team in the land, the Boilermakers, are underway. Wisconsin versus Purdue highlights tonight at 10. And everyone is still talking about the long snapping abilities of Giannis. It's Giannis, right? I don't know if he's been taking lessons from Corey Linsley in Green Bay or what, but this between the legs dish to Chris Middleton, still just too sweet. Hales Corners native Tim Smychek had to overcome an underdog local long shot at the Australian Open, but Smychek continues his recent run, knocking out Alexei Poprin 6-3, 6-7, 6-3, 6-3. He's on to the round of 64 to face Albert Ramos Vinolas, ranked 21st in the world. And coming off the successful U.S. speed skating trials, you appreciate the 25 years of the Pettit Center, especially when you hear the frozen horror stories of the old outdoor oval from 6-time Olympic medalist Bonnie Blair Cruikshank.
I remember 2 distinctive times that we skated outside in 80 below weather with the wind chill. And there were doctors there that said, no, these kids shouldn't do this. And, you know, it was like our world team trials for the year. So you'd go out, you really wouldn't warm up. You'd go right to the starting line. You'd come across the finish line. You'd do a hockey stop. Someone would throw a blanket on you. You wouldn't even put your guards on, and you ran into the building. So, you know, yeah, I mean, I look at this place and I'm like, oh, thank God. You know, like, what a beautiful facility we have here. Yep. It's consistent with the training.
That's sports. We're back after the break.
There are 4 police officers out here watching this animal tear up the store inside, and he's pretty mad inside the store.
Security cameras caught the raccoon breaking in, well, falling through the roof of a Boost Mobile store in Knoxville. It took about 3 hours to finally get that raccoon out of the front door.
An unbelievable picture snapped at a Florida golf course, a battle of the beasts, python versus alligator. Part of the enormous snake in the gator's mouth, the rest wrapped around its body. Security stood by to make sure everyone stayed a safe distance. That's when a doctor snapped this photo, now shared more than 14,000 times. No word on who came out on top.
Thanks for joining us today at 4:30.
Live at 5 is next.